Coolio left us in 2022, but before he passed, he changed the history of hip-hop with an iconic song that reveals a very serious problem that we are still facing today. Today, we're going to decipher the story behind Gangsta's Paradise by Coolio here on the Decipher Hits channel. Yes, Gangsta's Paradise is one of those songs that deserves to be called an anthem or a classic, but few people know that it almost didn't work out and that it's actually a sample from a much older song. It all started in 1995 in a house in Los Angeles, where two roommates, a music producer, and a DJ were competing to see who could find the best sample among their record collections. Then one day, the DJ admitted that his roommate, the producer Doug Rashid, had beaten him in that challenge. Rashid picked up the vinyl of a 1976 Stevie Wonder album and played a track called Pastime Paradise, which they quickly realized would make the perfect hip-hop sample.
Which album it was, and that the album was a song, a hip-hop album.
Rashid took the sample and started working on the beat, but they still needed to find someone to sing on that track. The producer had some clients who could take on this mission, but knowing how valuable it was, he wanted someone with a truly gifted voice. That's when he remembered one of his most talented clients, the singer Larry Sanders, better known as LV. The moment he heard the beat, LV knew he had something special on his hands. In just a few minutes, he masterfully recorded the iconic chorus of the song, changing only the phrase Pastime Paradise from Stevie Wonder's song to Gangsta's Paradise.
Ice.
Few people know this, but LV's talent is so incredible that one of the most praised elements of the song, the choir, isn't actually a choir. What we hear is just LV's voice, recorded in various vocal ranges, from soprano to tenor. Isn't that amazing? Okay, but where does Coolio come into this story? When LV finished his vocals, he and Doug realized that the song needed a rapper to be complete. And since LV was already part of a rap group called South Central Cartel, he remembered a friend from the group, Prodigy. Unfortunately, or maybe not, Prodigy didn't agree to do the rap on this song. However, that's when Coolio showed up at the house. At the time, he was already somewhat famous for a few hits like Fantastic Voyage from 1994.
4.
But nothing compared to what was about to come. The most ironic thing is that Coolio didn't even like producer Doug Rashid's beats. He only showed up at the house to pick up a check with his manager, who was actually DJ Paul Stewart himself. Coolio went into the house, picked up the check, and headed to his car to leave. But something was meant to happen that day. Because before getting into the car, he saw a 1975 Chevrolet Biscayne parked at the house next door, which caught his attention. He went to ask the neighbor if he was selling the vehicle. The two started talking about the car for so long that Coolio ended up needing to use the bathroom. And that's exactly why he returned to the house. But this time, before leaving, he passed by the door of the room where the recording studio was and heard the beat playing that would change his life forever.
I walked past the studio and I heard the music playing. So I walked up to the producer, whose name was Doug, and I said, "Yo, what's this?" He said, "This is something I'm working on." And I said, immediately I said, "This is mine." It's like that.
Just like everyone else in that house, Coolio knew what a treasure he had in his hands. The way everything came together was so extraordinary, it was as if the universe were conspiring to make it all happen that way. Coolio himself has said in several interviews that he had never written lyrics so quickly.
It's the only song I've ever written where I never picked up my pen. I wrote it as if I already knew it. The song was an entity that was looking for a vessel through which it could come.
It chose me.
Creepy, right? Even worse, this also occurred during the making of Stairway to Heaven, which already has a video on the channel. Coolio has already said that the first lines of Gangsta's Paradise came to him immediately as a freestyle in his head. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Here, Coolio paraphrases Psalm 23 to express himself as a young man from the ghetto who, when faced with his own death, looks back and realizes he lived a life empty of meaning. And unlike the biblical character, who did not fear because he had divine protection, the young gangsta feels abandoned and left to his own fate in his last breath. Yeah, it's not just the rhythm. The harmony and the extraordinary beat of this song are what make it appear on every list of the most important rap songs in history. One of the most fantastic aspects of this song is its lyrics. It accurately portrays the mindset, difficulties, and dilemmas of young people from the hood, often immersed in a reality that glorifies gangsta status as a means of survival, living in a society that encourages the endless pursuit of material achievements. Impossible. Impossible. That's where they put me. I can't live a normal life. I was raised by the state, so I have to stick with the guys from the hood. Watching too much TV got me chasing dreams. The rapper raps. LV says that when he saw the lyrics Coolio wrote, he was surprised because it was exactly about the same thing he sang in the chorus. How the lives of so many teenagers are wasted by living in a gangsta's paradise, killing each other while the system just watches from the outside. Not everything. Because we're so blind to see that the only ones we hurt are you and me, sings LV. But even though they all knew they had a mega hit on their hands, putting this song out into the world was not easy at all. After they recorded the demo tape, Coolio jumped in his car and called his record label, Backwards, hoping to get them to invest, to greenlight the release. Unfortunately, the label didn't really believe in the song. That's when Coolio's manager, Paul Stewart, had the idea to send the tape to some film production companies. At that time, hip-hop was starting to gain more ground in film, so they couldn't miss this chance. Luckily for them, two producers accepted the proposal. The ones from the movie Bad Boys and the ones from the movie Dangerous Minds. Both would be released that same year, 95, so they had to make a decision quickly. Paul Stewart then chose the movie Dangerous Minds, since besides offering a higher fee, he believed the movie's theme matched the song better, which would increase the chances of everything working out. Just 5 days after the song was recorded, Disney, which owned the studio responsible for the movie, contacted Coolio's team and scheduled a meeting for the next day. At the meeting, Disney was very straightforward. They couldn't use the song to promote the movie because Coolio didn't have Stevie Wonder's permission to use the sample from Pastime Paradise. Besides that, they had already done some audience testing for the movie, and unfortunately, the audience acceptance was still very low, around 45%. Afraid the movie would flop, Disney pulled the film from audience testing and postponed the release until they could find a solution. In the meantime, Coolio, LV, and the producer took the opportunity to return to the studio and perfect the song, which was still in its demo version. This time, they re-recorded the song in 4 different studios. The producer improved the beats and added all the instruments. And then, Kevin Davis, the audio engineer, worked his magic. I think it took him about 15 minutes and then he said, "Man, listen to this." And we said, "That's it, it's done." Producer Doug Rashid said this in an interview with Rolling Stone. The problem was, they still needed Stevie Wonder's permission to use the song. Luckily, Coolio's wife knew Stevie's brother, got his contact, and they managed to set up a meeting. But when Stevie heard the song, he immediately said no. Stevie didn't want his song sampled in a gangster rap with swear words. According to Coolio, he had only used swear words 4 times in the song, but he agreed to remove them from the track, and finally, Stevie Wonder gave his permission. Right after that, Disney resumed audience testing for the movie. But this time, they used the song Gangsta's Paradise in the promotional trailer. The result was a success. The approval rating went from 45% to 75%, and people instantly started wanting to watch the movie. That's when Disney went all in on the promotional campaign. They realized that the song would be the key to the movie's success. So they decided to fund a music video for the song that used scenes and actors from the feature film. They brought in none other than Antoine Fuqua to direct the video. If you don't know, he's the guy who directed the 2001 classic Training Day. Disney gave Fuqua total creative freedom to make the video, which at first didn't please Coolio very much. I wanted to put some lowrider cars and some more street stuff in the video, but he had a better vision than mine, thank God, said the rapper. Fuqua's idea was to have LV and Coolio acting alongside actress Michelle Pfeiffer in the video, who was already huge in Hollywood at that time. In the movie, she plays a former Navy officer who was assigned to be a teacher at a troubled public school located in an area with a high crime rate. Coolio wasn't much of a fan of that kind of movie. I hate those movies where, the great white hope comes to the hood and saves the kids. That's what the rapper said to Yahoo Music in 2020. But despite that, the fact that the music video was put into heavy rotation on MTV that year couldn't have worked out better. With its release, the song quickly climbed the Billboard charts. But when it reached third place, Michael Jackson released the single You Are Not Alone. And it went straight to number 1. Coolio's crew had already accepted it after all. Who's going to compete with the king of pop, right? But to their surprise, the following week, Gangsta's Paradise rose to first place, knocking Michael's hit off the top and staying there for 3 weeks. Elvia reported that it was an incredible moment, since he was going through a very difficult situation. His parents were sick, and he had lost 2 of his brothers. So the success of the song really changed his life. Coolio said in an interview, "I was on tour in Europe when it reached number 1. But there's one detail. We were number 1 all over the world, not just in the United States. I was like, man, these people don't even speak English and they're loving a song like this?" That really surprised me. For real, gangstas. Paradise not only achieved the incredible feat of reaching number 1 in more than 20 countries, but it also earned Coolio a Grammy for Best Rap Performance, as well as the Billboard Award that year where he performed together with Stevie Wonder and LV. The song was such a huge success that even the comedian Weird Al made a parody of the hit called Amish Paradise. Back then, there were no social media, so if Weird Al made a parody of you, it meant you were popular, said Antoine Fuqua. Despite that, Coolio didn't like the parody and didn't want to give permission for the use of the song. After a few years, they made up. Coolio admitted that he regretted giving Weird Al a hard time, and in the end, everything turned out fine. Without using a single swear word, Coolio managed to bring gangster rap to another level in the music industry, opening the doors so that other giants like Tupac and Notorious Big, who until then were considered too hardcore for mainstream radio, could also be accepted at the top of the industry. But unfortunately, on September 28, 2022, Coolio had an opioid overdose and ended up passing away at 59 years old. And even though he has left us, his music still lives on and continues to perfectly portray the struggles of teens from poor neighborhoods, even almost 30 years later. As he himself said,
"Eu não sou gangsta rapper, sou apenas verdadeiro."
Everything, really. I use this language to attract the kids' attention, to say what they want to hear. That way, I can guide them to a deeper perspective. If you like our content here on YouTube and want to help us make more videos like this, just click the join button. That's it for now. Thank you so much for watching until the end, and see you next time.